What's up guys, it's Dan here. I'm taking over the blog.
Hey guys, welcome back to the vlog. Daniel Billsborough, everybody. How are you, buddy?
I'm well, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, I wanted you to come on because I want to sort of reminisce with you a little bit on like how we got to know each other.
I know, it was a magical time. Yeah, sure, mate. I would love to give you my perspective on this situation.
Please do, because then I'll give you mine.
Oh man, this will be really interesting because I don't think we've ever really talked about this.
I think we like touched on it once.
Yeah.
Because you came to me after you like,
right.
Wait, you're the founder? I was like, yeah, but like, you know, that's irrelevant.
So seriously, I tell so many people this story. I was saying to you in this email, right? Like, people always ask me these days, like, oh, where are you working? And I'm like, oh, I'm working at Creative Cubes in Hawthorne. And I'm like, well, let me just tell you how this whole thing happened. So I'll tell everyone how this happened. So it was October last year. I run photography workshops for my photography school, and I was doing a Lightroom workshop, and I had a couple of extra bookings literally like the night before, and I needed to upgrade. I needed more space.
Sure.
So I was just Googling, and I think Creative Cubes had just opened like a few weeks prior.
Yeah, if that.
And your booking system was all, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It's all automated.
It is, but it had a bug. But yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have been able to book it.
That's right.
So the bug was there. But I'm glad that you did, and we ended up in the situation.
Totally, so am I. And so I ended up booking a room here, and I'm like, okay, sweet, I'm sorted out. I can now run my workshop. And then I'm like, well, hang on, how am I going to actually like get in to this place? And so I tried emailing support. And
just to kind of give everyone a little clarity, you booked it for a Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a Sunday?
And I booked it on a Saturday.
And you booked it on a Saturday, and you shouldn't have been able to do that. All of our members have 24/7 access, so they all have fobs that can get in the door. But if you're an outsider, which we welcome, you don't have a fob. And you should only be able to book during hours that the happiness team is here. So totally our fault. Totally, you kind of caught us. You caught a bug in the system, which is great because I think we've patched it now.
Cool.
But you placed your booking, and then we're like, oh, how do you get in?
Yeah.
Because you're not a member at this stage.
Right.
And didn't have a fob.
Yes, exactly. So I was sort of, I was like getting a bit anxious because I'm like, oh man, I've got like, I think I had 6 people or something coming to my workshop, and I was like, I always stress about these things for no reason.
Sure.
Like I'm like, is my HDMI cable not going to work or something, you know? Anyway, so I jumped onto the Facebook support, and I was just chatting with someone at the time, which actually turned out to be Toby. Yeah. But I was just like, oh hey, I just made a booking, like just thinking like you guys had like a team of support people on there.
Global team, right?
Yeah. I'm like, this is probably gonna be somebody like, you know, overseas or whatever.
Someone in the call center, 600 people.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
But I actually didn't find that out. I don't think I knew who I was talking to until like 2 or 3 hours in.
Yeah. So keep going.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, I just made this booking. Is there any way, like, how do I get in? And Toby was on the other end. I didn't know this at the time, but he was like, oh, you found a bug in the system. I'm not sure what we can do here. And then you said to me, I'll get back to you.
So the issue that I was facing, so pausing where Dan is typing away, going help, 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 to me, like literally rolling over and looking at my phone. My kids were asleep. Sim was away. My wife was away. Goodness. So it was like a Sunday, and I had to drive them to horse riding, which was like an hour and a half each, or it's like an hour each direction plus half an hour or 45 minutes of riding. So there's no ways that I could sort of like get here to help. So I'm like literally lying in bed going, how do I help this guy? I can't say no to him because that's not what we do here.
That's amazing.
I got to figure out a way to help him.
Wow.
So we're a couple hours through, and I was like, can I offer you meeting room access the whole week for free? Like, can you just change it from a Sunday to a Monday? I promise you. Like, man, I can't. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. What else? But hold on a second. I think we run yoga on a Sunday. Quickly pick up the phone. Hey Scott, you got to help me. Scott is our brand manager for our yoga business called Rebel Monk. We have a 30-person yoga studio here in Hawthorne. And I was like, man, you got to help me. So we managed to plug the hole.
Yes. So that was amazing. So Scott, you put me in touch with Scott.
Yeah.
I texted him. I'm like, hey Scott, thank you so much for letting me in.
And I think we even comped the day. Like I don't even like, because we had disturbed you.
No, man,
I can't remember.
Yeah, I just remember it being like, this was, to me, I'm like, you saved my skin. I was going to say something about balls. So you saved my skin there big time, because I'm like, for me to like, I had people booked in for like literally 2 or 3 months in advance, and I'm like, it's kind of like, it was an expensive kind of workshop for people to come to, and I didn't want to inconvenience my people that were coming, and etc. So you really like legitimately saved my ass that day.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
I honestly, like, I'm just thankful Scott was here, and I'm thankful we worked it all out. Yeah. Because I don't know if we would have been able to save you at that stage.
Yeah, I was extremely grateful. But what was awesome was, so how it all eventuated was, I turned up on a Sunday, I met Scott, I got there a little bit early and just sort of chatted, and I'm like, Scott was telling me about, he's the brand manager for Rebel Monk, the yoga studio. He's like, we're opening in like a couple of weeks or something. And Scott was kind of, I don't want to use the word freaking out, but he was like,
acceptable.
But he was kind of like a little bit nervous in terms of like, I don't know how we're going to get people to come in and whatnot. And I'm like, well, Scott, I actually run a digital marketing business for holistic health practitioners. I'm like, if you want, I can just let you know, like, this is what I would do if I was in your situation. And he said to me, look, let's chat after your photography workshop. So at 6 p.m. that day, I finished. I went into like the Lulu room or whatever it is. I was just like hanging out there.
It probably wasn't even badged at that stage.
Yeah.
It probably didn't have the sign on it.
Yes, there was basically nobody here back then. I just sort of sat down with Scott for probably about 2 hours in the end, and I just sort of took him through, like, look, man, like, this is what I would do in this situation. I kind of gave him a bit of background, so he knew that I wasn't just some guy that was reading internet forums about marketing and stuff.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a bit of experience with my photography school, and so, yeah, he obviously, I appreciated what I had to say, and then I think he must have contacted you to set up a meeting.
Yeah.
And
he didn't contact me. He summons me to a meeting.
Oh, okay.
I think that's back to that nervousness he had. Like, we hadn't got a client, and we're opening a yoga studio. We've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars building it out and making sure everything was perfect. With the mentality of build it and they'll come. Right. Not really, because we really believe in Scott. He's a very experienced operator in that sector. Yoga and wellness. Yeah. So I wasn't as nervous as him. But yeah, so then fast forward, and like, I don't know, we're like 7 months. What are we? September. I think you opened October or November.
Yes, it was late October or November, I think. When
Cubes opened September. Yeah, yoga was a little bit behind that, and then the cafe was even further behind that. But let's just call it November, December, January, February. Today's the 4th of March.
Yes, no.
So we're in month 4.
Yeah, time is flying. And actually, Toby, I just want to actually mention something here, because the meeting that we had, can I just give you my perspective on that?
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was really interesting to me, because so Scott contacted you guys, and then you organised a meeting. It was the Tuesday after the Sunday, from what I remember. And I didn't know you then. So afterwards, I remember jumping on the Facebook support, and I was like, who am I talking to, by the way? You're like, my name's Toby. And I Googled you. So I'm like, I just typed in Toby Creative Cubes, and obviously I had no idea I didn't know what was going on. And I'm like, this whole time, I'm like, Toby, I'm like chatting with Toby, he runs the whole show here. I'm like, man, this guy's
I run some very talented people, as part of being the leader of I think we're close to 22 employees now. You have to lead by example. So I can't expect my team to do it if I'm not prepared to do it myself. If you would have seen me last Thursday or Friday at 7 a.m, I had my apron on. I was in the car park over the road here in Hawthorne, handing out coffee cards.
I saw you on Instagram doing
that. Yeah, it's just another example of, if you're asking them to do it, then you best believe that I'm going to be doing it for them. Or leading by example.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. But I remember this meeting. This is what I wanted to kind of give you my perspective on, because, before this, I've been very much just running my own business, and so I didn't have a lot of interaction with other entrepreneurial types.
Yeah.
I was mainly dealing with my clients and my customers, right?
Yes.
So I remember coming into this meeting with you, and I just remember thinking this to myself. I'm like, so it was you, Scott, and Gav. For the three of you guys in this meeting. And I was like, I could tell, because you guys were locked onto me, and I'm like, these guys have highly tuned BS radars, and I'm like, and they're like all over me here, and I was very sort of aware of that. I remember at the time, but I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, look, I was very confident with what I knew I could do.
Sure.
So I was able to overcome that sort of nervousness. There was a bit of nervousness for me actually, because I'm sort of like presenting to three pretty high level guys. So
Gav and I have had, personally had 15 years experience, probably not all digital, but had several years experience definitely within the digital sphere when I was in LA. And Gav and I specifically had been working with a digital team from Los Angeles, who we still work with today, out in Santa Monica. So we were very well educated.
Okay, I got that impression. Yeah.
On everything.
Yeah.
And we've done that for Cubes brand specifically for close to a year and a half at that stage.
No kidding.
So it's probably close to 2 years now,
right?
Because we had a ramp into launch of our first building in 2017. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, so that was kind of my experience right at the start there.
Yeah.
And it was just, I just thought, we were sort of chatting the other day, kind of reminiscing, we were just like, wow, it's been 3 months, 4 months actually now. And I was saying to Toby, it's interesting how when you look back, there's that Steve Jobs quote, I can't remember exactly, but it's something about your ability to connect the dots looking back.
Sure.
And I always think about that when I'm reflecting.
I actually look at it going forward. So I came into contact with you, but also come into contact with plenty of other people. And I'm like, okay, so I get that we're here to talk about a specific topic if we're in a meeting room or whatever at a meeting. But I always okay, so why were you pushed into my path? What's the bigger purpose here? I get that we've got to deal with this ABC thing right now. Let's deal with it. But in the back of my head, I'm like, why are they really here, and what who's pushed them into my path?
Man, that's really interesting.
As a forward looker, and then I look back and a couple of weeks later, or it often happens instantaneously as to I get it.
Yeah, you can foresee the purpose.
But I allow the process
to unfold.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's really interesting. So can I ask you a question about that? Because that is, I would say that's almost like having a grand plan and thinking big like that. That's, I would say, almost like a semi-spiritual thing to do.
Yeah, I'm very spiritual.
I was about to ask you, are you a spiritual person?
Yeah,
Because we haven't really talked about that.
Yeah.
So how would you, when you say you're a spiritual person, how do you define that?
So when I was 14, my dad got sick. He passed when I was 16. As he passed, he said, you need to be the man in the house now, right? And so I got 2 little sisters, not little anymore, and a mum. And so I have operated since that age. I'm 39 this year. I've operated at that age knowing that no matter what happens, the big fella upstairs, my dad, has my back. And so I haven't connected with him on a spiritual, I haven't spoken to him or had signs from him or whatnot, but I just operate now at the speed of light, knowing that I can't possibly fail because the big guy upstairs will always be there. making sure that I'm heading this way, and then you talk about the pivot. There's a ton of pivots, but I actually look at it like, all right, my dad said, don't go right, go left. So yeah, I'm very spiritual.
Man, I had not. That's really mind blowing. Well, now that you say that, it makes sense to me because I feel like most people who are successful have some kind of they get it on some level with that kind of awareness. But can I ask, I'm kind of flipping on you.
No, go ahead.
But, I'm just very curious.
Welcome to the Dan Show.
Do you ever? Because this is something I've done a lot of self reflection. I've been through some, nothing like that sort of stuff. I know with spirituality, people who experience a lot of pain or trauma, are often those people who this expression, to experience the highest highs, you also have to go through the lowest lows at times, right? And
Absolutely.
That's why when you told me that just then, I'm like, well, this makes sense. And I know so many people who have those stories, but.
Do you want to ask the question? Because I was going to say on the segue there.
Sure. I'll stall the question.
On the segue, it's kind of like I was saying to someone the other day, winning and being the recipient of the award of winning is for me it's almost like a process. The losing side of it is where I thrive, right? So I set out to win at everything that I do. I want to be best in class, not just in class. But if I can't get to pole position, I'm okay as long as I've learnt why I didn't get there, and then I go back and refine those skills, or refine the process, or refine the offer, or whatever the case may be, in order to be number one next.
Wow, cool.
So it's not the winning that brings the success. I actually think it's the losing that brings the success.
That's really interesting. So I was actually watching a video from Toby from the We Teach Me Masters.
Oh yeah.
Which is like a 40-minute talk or something he did. It's on YouTube. And I remember you were talking about, I think you were actually talking about how you're raising your kids actually.
Yep.
And what I really resonated with there, you were talking about how there's no mistakes, as in there's just learnings.
Correct.
Right? And I thought that when I heard that, I actually thought again, I'm like, maybe you are a bit more spiritual than I previously believed. Although this doesn't sound like it's spiritual, there's no mistakes. But however, this sort of comes down to
it's outlook though, right?
100%. And almost when we go through the schooling system, I feel like it's almost like you're punished for making mistakes.
Correct.
And when you're a kid, you really take that inside yourself, and you start distrusting yourself.
Yep.
So
depends.
Right.
Comes back to outlook.
Yes.
Because I was in class and my teachers, and there's a series about to come out with Ambisi. Some of my teachers were like, "You're going to amount to nothing. You don't get it. We don't even know what to do with you anymore." And the reality is, and I say this with no ego, with no malice towards them, but what they were teaching was not resonating with me. And instead of trying to tell me off for not getting it, they never took themselves out and went, all right, so why isn't he getting it, and how can I get him to get it? And so my kids now, they go to this school where if they are into art, or if they're into sport, or if they're into music, they'll teach them maths, science, English, leveraging the stuff that really interests them and really speaks to them, and they get it.
That's amazing.
But if you go and beat them with a rote learning agenda or curriculum,
I couldn't agree more.
I don't know, man. I just round peg, square hole sort of scenario.
Absolutely, yeah.
But for 14 years, 12 years at school, plus kinder, whatever it's called, it just didn't speak to me, man. I never felt like I belonged. I wasn't the dumbest in the school, but I wasn't my marks were the best. But now take me into the real world and give me something that I'm passionate about, and I'm focused on being the best by an absolute mile. And those people that I went to school with, not to talk ill or bad on them, I'm sure they're all happy and everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
Oh man, that's
Right?
that's a game changer.
And so I just want to live, man. Like, I'm 39 this year. My dad passed when he was 44. It sits in my head. I don't think that that's going to be an issue for me, but like, fuck, if I've got 6 years, 6 years left, fuck, let's go. Let's have fun. We're here for a good time, not a long time. And so don't think that, like, I don't want people to misinterpret what I'm saying. I think that if you're great at school, I think that, you know, school can be great for certain people. I think, you know, outside of that, there's a lot of good that can come of getting a great education and kind of going through the process. But it's okay if you don't feel like it speaks to you. Find something you're passionate about, hold on to it, and execute.
Yeah, nice.
That's it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So can I ask this question?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Just because no, by no means, that was an amazing segue, but I feel like I'm just taking over this whole video.
Oh, totally cool.
No, but I'm just taking this opportunity to kind of extract from you a little bit, actually.
Yeah, sure.
I just wanted to ask you about like your thoughts on like your relationship with yourself, as in like when you've had moments of like self-doubt or like you've stopped sort of believing in yourself or whatever, I feel like on some level we all doubt ourselves at certain times. Perhaps, maybe, I would love to just hear your thoughts.
So like, I'm probably a bad person to answer this question.
Okay.
The only time I'll doubt myself is if I don't have enough knowledge, right? If I don't have enough clarity, or I don't have a full 360 on the deal or the situation or the product or service, right? In terms of like confidence, I've got this attitude where I just don't give a shit, right? So I don't pretend to be someone that I'm not. I don't try and fake it. I'm a person on face value, and if that's not good enough, that's okay. But I can't pretend to be someone that I'm not in order to try and impress or control or be the man in the conversation. So I don't really like, my daughter, she's my daughter, so take this with a grain of salt, but my daughter is a very talented girl, very, very talented girl. But she won't throw herself at stuff because she's nervous or she's scared. Admittedly, she's like 7 years old, so let's put that in context, right? But I'm like, girl, just go at it. Don't worry about anything, just go at it. And so I'm hoping that in time, that attitude will sort of get into her system. And she'll be like, yeah, fuck, I fell over, I didn't execute the cartwheel, or I tripped on stage, or I didn't hit the winning shot, and I missed it, and we lost, and my whole team is like angry at me. Who cares? Dust yourself off, learn from what happened, get up, and keep going.
Nice.
Because if you stop, you become the loser.
Yeah.
Right? But if you can fail, so long as you're failing forward, and that failure takes you to the next step or the next height, let's fail all day, every day. Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't think people that just have it easy and people that can just win because they've decided to show up and execute, I think that they will fall short in time. Or the people that you looked up to in school, or your friends that, you know, might be a lawyer or a dentist or a doctor or a surgeon or a whatever, some highly regarded astronaut, astrophysics, cool man, that doesn't speak to me. That's not gonna like show me that's not my path. Just be you, be happy, and God, you know, we don't know when it's gonna end. That's the reality. It could end today, it could end in 150 years from now. I keep saying the same, not up to 150, hopefully, but it may not be. So just embrace every day. I mean, it's very hard. You've got pressures of bills and life and this person doing that, or a supplier fucking you over on this, or the price change on that, and you made a commitment. Like all of that, I get all of those juggling balls, but at the end of the day, if it's not making you happy, cut it, get away, but just kind of don't deny your history for your future, because your history makes you what you are today. And a great example, like if my dad was around, Do I think I would be in this position doing this?
Good question.
Probably not.
Really?
Yeah, probably not.
Wow.
But because of all those things that have happened historically, I'm now here.
So can I just ask, like, why do you say that? So why do you say why do you think you wouldn't be here if your dad, like...
Because my dad, parting words to me were, you need to be the man of the house. That didn't mean sort of like kick it with my friends on the weekend and get drunk and do all that stuff, right? It meant get your ass into gear and hustle and make sure that your sisters and your mom say, now they've got their own lives and they do their own thing, and I by no means support any of them. But like, just the outlook, man. The outlook was, okay, I'm a 16-year-old, there goes the childhood, which I some have some sort of like regrets about, but I look back at where I look at where I'm at right now, and I'm like I'd do anything to have my father back, but I'm thankful for everything that's happened to get me to here. Whether that's a great thing or the hardest thing to swallow, I'm just grateful to be here, man.
Nice.
And so that's all that really matters.
Cool.
And I'm not sure how that translates to work, but for me, it's just like I just don't give a shit. I'm so dialed into my craft. I'm so dialed into the goals that I want to achieve with Creative Cubes and all the other brands that sort of like bolt on to this vehicle. That if you're in my path, I've got to work out whether you belong on the path with me, holding hands, or whether or not I've got to bump you off the path. And I'm good either way. Yeah. But so long as I stay focused and stay on my goal, I'm sort of trying to deliver a space and a place where people can just be like me, and like maybe they're the outcast, maybe they come from a minority community, maybe they haven't been brought up, in a great stable house environment, but they've got an idea. And they want to chase that idea, and I don't care where you come from, so long as you're a good person and you want to do good for the world, then Creative Cubes is a space for you. And so, I'm super happy about that. At the same time, I'm setting a great example for my kids. Absolutely. Where in the schoolyard it could be, oh my God, look at her hair, or look at his flies undone, how and how childish and immature kids can be. I'm just hoping my kids can rise above all of that.
Amazing.
And just be confident in themselves. And it doesn't mean they have to get it right at every step. In fact, I would rather they get it wrong and learn than sort of like never have a failure, never have to worry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really want them to understand the value of the dollar. Like, I'm confident that they'll inherit a small fortune, please God, but they won't be just getting the bank account full of money.
Right.
I want to do things that makes them appreciate
absolutely
how hard it is to make it, and also enable and just make sure that they've got a safety net as well, right? So
so that's, it's really interesting to say that, because when we remember this. It was like a few weeks ago, there was a disco party that was kind of organised at Creative Cubes, and Toby did just a short sort of speech there, just when everyone was there. And one thing that I remember you said was that, first of all, I felt like that was the first night for me that I'd been to like a social event at Creative Cubes, really. That was it was very well organised. There was like, 60 odd people there or something?
It was more than that, but I think it was all happiness team. The happiness team crushed it.
Right. Yes.
We gave them a budget, or I didn't. Andy gave them a budget, and they just went and executed.
Right. So I remember this was my first sort of social event, and that night I really got the sense of, and I think I messaged you about this. I was like, it felt like a family. Totally. But it also felt like everybody there was some kind of common string, I was going to say. I don't know what the expression is, but like it felt like everybody there had a similar kind of story, as in like it felt like we all were struggling with similar problems, but at the same time we were all kind of nervous about talking about it. Sure. But there was this weird sort of subconscious bond that I felt that night. And I remember you during that speech, you were like, I can't remember the exact words, but it was like, sort of like, we're here to like keep you all safe, and you're like, you really felt like you were very aware of like the fact that you were creating a family and creating something and bring everyone together. And for me, I just remember hanging out there like just at the bar or whatever, and I'm like, like I'd had conversations with a few different people that I'd seen around the building, and I started to realize that like legitimately everybody here has a story. Like James, for example,
James' story is awesome.
Yeah, like I went and had a coffee with him because I'm like, he looks like a good-hearted dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know.
I mean, he's a great example. He's a guy that wasn't brought up with much, if any, has an idea, and he's here at 7. I got out of the shower after Orange Theory this morning, and James was like, "Oh, is the shower free?" Like, and he's like dripping from. He went to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's here super early, progressing his business forward every single day.
Wow.
And really, the common thread is good people wanting to do good things, and I don't care about anything else.
Oh my goodness! You know what? This makes total. Now that you say that, because Lauren I spoke to, who works here, she runs like a meditation channel on YouTube. She creates meditation videos. I've heard her story as well. She definitely has a story. James, with Video Why, his whole business is built on purpose. Claire as well, like the fashion advocate. Her as well. I'm like, you kind of see these people like walking around, and it's very easy just to be like, like I used to work in Hewlett Packard, where it's very like decentralized, like corporate environment, and I kind of like, you know, like it's very different here. Like it's completely different here.
And you know what's interesting? We're the majority, even though we feel like we're the minority.
Yeah, man. Oh my god,
Right?
totally. Yeah.
So
we're not together.
No.
Yeah.
Like, and there's, you know, we serve, I think we're close to 500 or 600 different businesses today across the 2 properties. With another couple of properties coming for 2019 and beyond. But the interesting thing is everyone feels like they've got this idea and they want to go and execute it, but no one outside really understands. Or if you look at like my example, which is sort of like the whole baseline for what Creative Cubes is only when, like, I have a loving family, a beautiful wife, kids, in-laws, direct family, mum, sisters, great cousins. Everyone shows true love, but none of them, no matter how much they love me, really understood the trials and tribulations of what I was going through with Pet Lou, and taking that from my spare bedroom to a global business, 84 countries of distribution, crazy like rocket sales, but like didn't have the financial means to keep up. So like I mortgaged my house to, crazy story, you can check it out later, but you know, no, my family never really understood.
Right.
Even though they wanted to understand and try it. I love this, I love my son, I love my brother, I love my sister, whatever. None of them really understood what I was going through day in, day out in trying to get my business to take flight, right? And so only when I sort of rocked up to Santa Monica, California, to the old Google headquarters on 6th in Arizona, was 3 stories. It was 3 times the size of Creative Cubes. We're at 15,000 square feet, they're like 60,000 square feet, 4 times the size. Or 6,000 square meters, we're 1,500 square meters. Packed with people that are just like me and you. They've got an idea, they want to go do something for themselves, they're trying to work out how to do that. Some of them have got massive venture capital behind them. Others kind of like can barely pay their membership to be there, but they have to be there because this is where they're drawing their source of inspiration from. And so yeah, I wanted to come home basically. You know, I've been up the mountain twice by myself, and now I want to come down and make sure all these people that are sort of on that journey are safe. Just when you turn left out there's a big hole, don't fall in that hole. Hang a right instead, there's a shortcut. It's sort of like, I'm not in the coaching and advisory space, but like, I allow good people to come in here, and hopefully that collision of incredible minds, whether they're validated during your school or your university days, is completely irrelevant. but there's that intrinsic motivation to want to do. Come on over.
Nice.
Yeah.
So can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Just let me know when you want to cut this off, Toby.
15 minutes ago, but that's all right.
Like this guy.
No, not this guy.
Look, just a really quick one. So you just mentioned Santa Monica, right?
Yeah.
So I remember you talking about this in the We Teach Me Masters
Yes.
thing. And what I wanted to ask you about, because you mentioned in the We Teach Me Masters thing, you went through a phase where, so before you went to this co-working space in Santa Monica, you were working from home, and you were saying one thing that you noticed was, or one thing that you realized when you went to the co-working space, that you had now this space between home life and then work life, and you were able to, when you went to the co-working space, you were able to actually understand the need to separate those two things.
Correct.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's just compartmentalizing life, right? So, Simi and I were married, living in Los Angeles. She was involved, she was in charge of our social calendar, so I called her our social director, and I was involved in just making sure that we were able to live, right? Which at times was really bad. And so I remember very clearly, she came into the spare bedroom, which was our North American headquarters for Peddler USA. And I had a warehouse in Nevada, so as long as I was connected to the net, I was selling moving product. And she's like, hey, let's go for a bike ride this afternoon. Let's go to Venice. Let's go watch some basketball. You can watch some basketball. There's a great hotel where we could sit on the roof and have drinks. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, but it's sort of midday, and I'm heads down focused. Yeah, but you work for yourself, and you own the company. The company's doing great. So just kind of just put it all to once. I'm like, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't just work. It doesn't just go from zero in sales in the peak of the global financial crisis to $10 million in sales. It takes hustle, grit. You get kicked in the nuts all day, every day. You got retailers that love the product but are too scared to buy the product because the only thing that's selling in pet stores right now is dog food, accessories, and all the rest of it we're not selling. And so it just became. And then on the flip side, she was so I'm like, I can't now. We can do it later. And she would just hang out all day waiting for me to finish. Because we didn't have a lot of friends. We ended up having a lot of friends. But in those days we didn't. And so on the flip side, 24, the TV show was a big thing back then. She's like, hey, 24's on tonight, it's the series finale, let's watch it. Cool, let's watch it. I go to the toilet, we're watching it, ad break comes on, I go to the toilet, I come back past the little spare bedroom and I hear my email ding. So I quickly just jump in there. Quickly, 3 hours later, I come back, she's fast asleep on the couch. And I'm like, this is unhealthy. And life is really blurred. The lines are really blurred. And just for the record, I wasn't as mature and as rational in my thinking. But I was like, I just need to get out. I just need to, this is just not good. So, couldn't afford an office. So I went and found a co-working space. Walked in, and I tell you, my life literally changed. It wasn't like this. It wasn't the same vibe. But what it was like-minded people all coming together to share a very small cost. Whether it's a desk or a private office, to be there. And that's when Uber launched. And the guys were in the Uber office, literally from here to where your desk is, just that distance.
That's cool.
And you're sort of rubbing shoulders, and all of a sudden that there's more Uber people, and more Uber people are starting to join as the business is starting to get. And so just being around, that's a great example, but it's not the only example. But just being around like-minded people like that, I got to tell you, I was able to get out of that rut from a headspace, but I was able to get out of that rut also from a income. I was able to generate more sales because I'd get to the office at 7:30 and I'd leave at 7 p.m. But I was there trying to hustle all day every day, as opposed to being at home, Sim distracting me. Hey, the dogs need to go to the toilet, can you take them out? Or we're getting a mail drop just too many other things going on.
Right.
And just come here and just focus.
That's really interesting. Okay, cool. I'm going to take some of that advice because the reason I ask you that actually is because especially this year for me personally, like I don't know if you realize this, I'm here till like 11 p.m. sometimes, right? Like my hours are kind of a little bit all over the shop. Sometimes I get in like midday, but I stay till midnight sometimes. But what I'm starting to feel is that I actually had this thought last week. I was like, and this sounds kind of, I'm a happy guy, but this is not meant to be depressive. But the thought I had was like, is this all there is? And so I didn't actually realize that I'd allowed my work and everything just to really take over. And I started thinking to myself like, man, I don't have that thing that's different to what I'm doing that I'm getting my words confused here, but like when you separate your work life and you plan for things that are fun and social and not work, I feel like you're actually protecting your work by doing that.
Sure.
And I've only realized this very recently.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and so I've sort of I'm starting to, now I really have to think about, I need to protect my mental health because I don't have anything to look forward to. You know what I mean? So I thought that was interesting.
So I think that you need to get to it yourself, but I would say that your skills and what you're doing today there's either one or two plays for you. You can just keep doing that forever if that's what you truly love and truly passionate about, or this is leveling you up for something bigger.
True.
Now, there may or may not be something bigger or better out there, right? So the grass is not always greener. But it might be like a shift in the mindset that helps you pivot your business to make it bigger, or a skill set where someone else is going to come in and go, like, I love your skills, I love your business, we'll buy your business to acquire. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you're saying. This is you thinking forward again, actually.
Yeah. I've got a couple of ideas. We haven't had our full chat yet. I've got a couple of ideas. We'll keep them for maybe another episode.
Sure.
Dan, thanks for coming. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks for making it impactful, right? Sure. Because from me to you, I do all these things hoping but expecting awesome people like yourself to come in here and do it. But then there's the reality of, hey, I didn't think it'd be this awesome. I didn't think there'd be this many awesome people. And you, for me, represent that.
Thanks, David.
It's really genuinely nice to see you here on the regular. I'm really proud of the work and the love and attention that you've put in, specifically with Scott around the Rebel Monk side of things. I think that there's a lot of learnings. I think that business is destined for bigger things, but we've got to kind of work it out. But I'm really happy with the amount of people that are coming to experience it. I think they've got 30 odd 5-star reviews. This is for Rebel Monk, which is our yoga business. I'll link everything in the description. And I just appreciate you.
Thanks,
and genuinely just showing up and being you, man. I don't need you to be any more than that. I'm just glad you're here, man.
Thank you so much, man. And likewise, extreme gratitude and appreciation for you.
Of course. Yeah. Guys, we are this might even be a three-segment vlog. I'm not entirely sure, but Daniel Billsborough, details in below. You can check out all the stuff that he's doing. Thanks, guys.